name's Amanda Brissett. I'm General Manager of the Western Sydney Business Connection, and I'm joined today by Bruce McFarlane, CEO and Interim Director of Energy Action. We're absolutely delighted to have Bruce with us here today to talk to us about what's going on in the energy market at the moment, how that's impacting business and what you can do about it. Welcome, Bruce.
Hello, Amanda. Nice to be here.
First question, what's going on at the moment? We're hearing a lot about the high energy prices. Why is this happening right now?
Well, when we say market failure, it's absolutely true. The markets are absolutely in disarray at the moment. When I say markets, it's the energy markets. So what's happened there is that our energy demand, our electricity and gas demand, this year is pretty much the same as it's always been at this time of year. But solar PV, largely, and other renewables have been pushing down prices for energy and electricity for a long time now. And that's meant that coal-fired generators have been running not as baseload units. They've been increasing and decreasing the way they run, increasing the amount of maintenance they need. And this winter, a lot of that fleet has been taken off for the maintenance that it needs because they've been running harder, so to speak. Those engines have been running harder. Then as we came out of COVID, oil and gas prices started to rise, and Putin went and invaded Ukraine. So I call it politically acceptable gas exporters like Australia. There's a lot of demand for our gas, and our gas exports in the East Coast are running very hard. We export all the gas that we produce, well, hang on, 3/4 of the gas that we produce in the East Coast, exporting more LNG than Qatar, would you believe? And high international prices have meant that our exporters are chasing that export. So that's meant we've had coal-fired generation going offline. We've had high gas prices, and that coal-fired generation is replaced by gas-fired generation. So therefore, you get very, very high prices. Then what happened, right? So we've had that for about 6 weeks, I think, very high prices because of those relationships. Renewables depressing, mucking up baseload generation having to go off for maintenance, gas-fired generation coming in over the top of it, high prices as a consequence. Then what happened is generators started to withhold capacity because they could get higher prices as a consequence of doing it. In other words, they said, we're not going to run. And then AEMO would come in, that's the market operator, would come in and say, you must run, I'll pay you more money to do that. So they were getting penalty rates for it. And then only last week, the market regulator said, enough is enough, the party's over, and told, hit the big red button, flashing lights, and suspended the electricity market. So again, the physical market, the delivery of electrons to you and me, energized electrons to you and me at home, has kept going. That physical infrastructure is still there, but the pricing mechanism, the financial market, has stopped. So they fixed the price that they're going to pay generation for. They manually were doing dispatch of generation, and so they've fixed the price of electricity broadly around the $300 per megawatt hour rate. Which it used to be around $30 to $50 per megawatt hour. So it's a very long answer to say the lights are going to keep going, but the way prices are set between generators and retailers and customers is broken. And AEMO has finally grown a backbone and stepped in to restore some order to the electricity market. So it's that AEMO is stepping into the financial market, is going to they're going to do a staged withdrawal from that suspension this Friday, and we'll see what happens in the wholesale market after that. That's a very long answer to your question about what's going on, but that's what's going on.
Well, I think it's a long answer because it's quite a complex issue. And how long do you expect this to go on for? How long do you expect this to last? This impact on pricing?
We're saying that we don't know. The reality is this Friday, we will start to see how long this might last. We're expecting that some order might have been applied to the generators so that their bidding behaviour is more reasonable. They have got license conditions to to be good citizens within our market. So we'll see probably from Friday onwards whether the generators have respond to this regulation effectively that has happened to them. Yeah, so we'll see from Friday as to whether we're going to get normal prices.
And if you were a betting man, what would you?
Until we get an ACCC investigation into unreasonable behaviour, I think that there is every likelihood that the generators could continue to demonstrate poor behaviour. They've chosen to date not to price at politically acceptable prices, and the consequences, the market's been suspended. Have they learnt? They got well paid during that suspension. So I think the reality is that they probably will moderate their prices and price at more politically acceptable pricing.
Let's hope so. So what's the impact on businesses from this?
It's massive, actually. It's incredible. This is, the Australian economy is going to be hit really hard by this. It's not just real interest rates that are going up that are going to hurt businesses. It's not just wage increases that are going to hurt businesses, but it's also energy prices. I'm staggered by it that it's been allowed to happen. What we're seeing as a business is we're seeing that retailers, because the retail function sits next to the Genco function usually or often. Retailers have largely stopped offering electricity and gas contracts because gas, remember, is constrained supply at the moment as well. So they've largely stopped offering electricity and gas contracts, or if they are offering them, they're very, very high. And then again, remember, I keep saying the light's not going off. You and I can turn our lights on. It's the same with businesses, but if businesses can't get themselves a contract, they're going to have to fall onto what's called a default rate, and those default rates that they get charged are 5 to 6 times the normal price. So a massive increase in pricing. So we saw a customer the other day, I think they were paying 25,000 last time they contracted, and this time they're going to be contracting for up to 10 times that, so 200,000. So massive increases in pricing that we're seeing. Yeah, so for businesses, there could be some real impact for them in terms of, are they going to stay in business? It's that serious.
So what do you recommend they do about that?
So what we're saying to customers is that genuinely, this is where a business like ours adds value. We have got the relationships with retailers to help get a contract. Where a business can get a contract, act quickly, and sign up for a 12-month period. That said, we've got the market reopening, and the wholesale market reopening on Friday. So really we're saying just hold on for a week and let's see where prices go as a consequence of that. But if you do get a contract, our advice is act on it. You're locked in for a period of time. That said, I understand a lot of businesses are looking at these prices and saying, I'll moderate it. Let me go on to default for a period of time. The other things that you can do is you can look, the high prices make the business case for solar PV if you're able to put it in, because maybe you're in a lease premise or something like that, so you can't take advantage of it. But look to see how you can reduce your demand through, say, solar PV. Monitor your energy usage and see where else you can reduce it. There are ways of managing it. Or if sometimes there's demand management capability as well that you might be able to implement. There's technology that you can do to manage your demand, and that might give you lower costs than some of the other aspects of the energy business.
Well, I think that's about all we have time for. So I really appreciate you giving up your time, Bruce, to sort of walk us through this very complex issue, and hopefully businesses can, find some relief soon. So thanks again, Bruce.
That's terrific, Amanda. Thank you for your time. Appreciate it.
Meet you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.